What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the second part of our video series. We still haven't got a name for this, but it's color commentary of the RCGP races. Joining me this week is the Viking, David Ronnefalk of HB Racing, and we have Richard the King Saxton from AE. He's going to give us a view from a mechanic's point of view as he watches the race. How are you guys doing? What's up, David? How are you?
I'm fine. Yeah, it's getting a little late here, but no, I'm good.
What's up, King? How you doing?
Oh, just working from home remotely, taking care of associated customers.
Yeah, I know all about taking care of customers. It is an ongoing, never-ending story. Thank you guys for coming on. I appreciate it. We did this last week with Joseph and David, and I thought you would be a perfect fit for this as well. Hopefully, maybe we might be able to get Davide on her one day. That would be great.
I think he would be awesome at doing this. And, him and Ronnefalk talking about 8-scale, you couldn't get two of the better guys to talk about it. He says his English isn't that good. I think it's a lot better.
It's a lot better.
Yeah,
it's a lot better than it is. What he says.
Correct.
Yeah, I think so. And I'm listening to his interviews. I'm like, he's letting off. He can definitely speak good English, but hopefully we can get him on. So this is the first race of the RCGP series. This race was the first 15, it's like a 15-minute leg of was on the Saturday. This was the first time this ever happened. This video doesn't even have an intro because they hadn't filmed it yet. So David, I know you was a big proponent of the RCGP series. Was this your first time in the Philippines when you came to this race?
No, this was I went there 2 times before this one, so that was actually the third time I was in Philippines. And super cool place. I love the track, and with the molasses they put on the track, I think it's needed to put something that holds the track up because of the jumps. So I mean, if you put that kind of a layout in, the track has to be smooth, otherwise it's going to be brutal out there. So I just love the work they put in for the event, and such a good place to be, and the atmosphere, the people are super nice, and no, it's just a lot of fun to go there.
Now, what a lot of people don't realize is the work that goes into this before and during this race, like the videoing of you guys. And like I said, RC Racing TV Control, they had no footage from you guys. So it pretty much started from scratch. Was you ready for what was going to happen? Because I saw at the USA race, and you guys had been through it already. You knew what you was doing, but this was the first time doing that. Was it a bit different for you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I thought that the idea of RCGP, it was it was a cool idea, and I wanted it to happen. And as you said, I was a big supporter of the thing. And coming into the first race, I guess everyone had not really any expectations at all. We just wanted to get through it as good as we could. And you could see all the guys working behind the scenes, like Matt and all these guys doing the media stuff. Everyone was kind of stressing to get everything as perfect as they could, I guess. And some of the stuff wasn't like you said the presentation wasn't there yet for the first round, which came later in the year. But all in all, I think the first race was a success. Obviously there were some stuff that could have been done better, but I mean, for the first race, I thought they did a really good job.
And King, you and I were actually in Silver State for this first race. Was you able to watch any of it? I did, because I was literally watching it while I was at Silver State. How about you? When you first saw this, what did you think? I know you're a big supporter of this as well.
Yeah, no, anything to promote the hobby and get it out to the masses, I'm all for. I went to the Philippines in 2017. The guys did an awesome job. I think that was David's first year there.
Yeah, that's correct.
And so I was able to see all the work that they put in at the track. Getting back to RCGP is just cool. I was lucky enough to race it last year at Thunder Alley, and what an awesome event. The joke is I got to run too much.
Yeah.
There was too much run time, but honestly, for the normal guy, he probably loved it, and it was a great event. I love races with timetables. We go to some of these races, and you don't know. You got to figure out when you're running. And that's,
I'm sure it was a lot of new stuff for the Americans, timetables and a lot of a lot of track time without having to do like truggy, e-buggy, and nitro, right?
Yeah. The America's too much quantity over quality. I'm for e-buggy and nitro buggy. To me, makes the most sense.
Yep,
That
me
way
as
the
well.
consumer can have the same car. You can kind of set up the two, use the same tires. I think that would be more friendly for the big races, but
For sure, I agree. I mean, the truggy is, I mean, it's fun to drive, but yet again, you need a lot of more parts to bring to the races.
yeah.
Arms, etc. Big, takes a lot of space in the bag, and heavy, and you gotta fight to some of the races. Tires, everything is just extra weight that you wouldn't have to bring if it was just e-buggy and nitro. But it's fun, but I think e-buggy and nitro, like you said, would be good enough to stay with those two.
Neo buggy format.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
very good, very good. And cool. I mean, yeah. Do you think this can be a part of our industry in the future, King? I definitely think it is a way forward. That's
Yeah.
my thought thinking on it.
Yeah, no, I was able to attend the manufacturers meeting, and I was able to learn a lot from Adrian from Hot Bodies. He brought up some really valid points, and the hardest thing with IFMAR, and I love it. I love going to the different countries, but if we're going to these countries, I'm going to exclude Australia. Australia was awesome, other than the program is way too long, but at least we have customers there. So, Adrian has a little bit more handle on uh, who's buying the cars and stuff. I'm not privy to those numbers, and he seems to be. So that's the main thing, is going to, France has a big market, Italy, the States, and that's kind of where we need to be going. Even the Philippines, Asia,
Yep.
it's growing all the time. So RCGP to me was awesome. I loved the coverage. It took it to another level, and it was a good deal. Is a good deal.
Cool. Well, I think we should get started. I myself was nervous when this was running at Silver State. I was so nervous, and it turned out to be a really good race. So, yeah, let's press play.
Being made here today.
So here we are. Like I said, I was really nervous at the start of this race. We got Nick talking. Everybody's on the lined up. What was you thinking right now when you was in second place there, David?
It was really close in all rounds of qualifying between me and Davide and the other guys as well. So obviously, I knew the second main was going to be more important. So this was all about getting a good start and kind of scoring good points for the second main later in the day. So just staying patient the first couple of laps was the plan, because I mean obviously the Marshall, it was hard to get to some of the spots out there if you crash in the jump. So you didn't want to do that in the first couple of laps.
Yeah, and this was all heads up racing. Like, really, do you like that style of racing, King?
Yeah, I think it's cool. If it's going to be a package for entertainment, this gives the most entertainment.
Yeah. So this track is really unique, man. The molasses. So what was the surface like, David?
It's like a lot of people they look at it and it's like they say it's mega grippy, and yeah, it's grippy, but it's like it's slightly grippy because you have a lot of forward bite, but it's not like it's flipping. You're never really close to being flipping in the corners and stuff. So it has to slide on the side, but it has a lot of forward bite. So you're running a pretty soft tire considering the heat and the traction you have, but they don't wear at all basically. So you can still run a soft tire without flipping. So it's a special condition for sure. Nothing that we see in many other tracks, but I really enjoy it. And with all these jumps, it makes it a lot more fun.
Yeah, I mean, you and Davide have kind of pulled out ahead of everybody. What are you seeing right now with Davide out front? Oh, there goes that mistake. I think this is where it starts to kind of unravel for Davide in this lap. But what are you seeing, King?
It looks like these two guys have pulled a pretty good gap. Davide looks a little bit loose on power right there, and David is applying the pressure and keeping his nose clean. So he knows that he doesn't want to tangle with Davide and get back in with the squids. You get with the squids, you get slimed. So
there we go. He makes
Yeah.
his mistake, and the marshal is really what like kind of screws him here. But I get it. They were only 4 races in, so
it's an
Yeah.
awesome turn marshal because guess what? You don't have to turn marshal.
that's right.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
right.
Yeah, and I mean, with all these big jumps, even if I was marshalling there, I wouldn't take any risk. Running out there trying to get a car as fast as I could. Knowing that a couple of cars are coming, making a big double right there. So I think you just you can't crash. That's the thing. You cannot crash. You shouldn't crash.
Yeah.
I
So
think Davide had a little bit of pressure. He cut the corner
Yeah.
too tight, put down too much power, and lost the rear end, and that
For sure,
caused that.
like I said, it's grippy, but it's not like the car is completely locked in. So if you're just, missing your lines, missing your marks a little bit, and you try to maybe close a gap that you open for the guy to pass you, it's gonna get really tough with all these jumps. And you can see all the jumps; they're not like completely straight either. So they are like always turning. Like this section here, double coming onto the straight is like, it's turning quite a lot actually when you're up there on the driver's stand. It's just not just straight, so it
Yeah.
makes it really difficult.
that was a good move by Cole, but he makes that mistake. So we got Battier, which
This is-
nickname and never
yeah.
gets his name right. Robert Battier, Cole, and Ongaro. This is really the race, David. You're kind of pulling away. So we're going to put you to the side for a little bit. Let's talk about these 3 guys right here. So Battier
Yeah.
is the wily veteran. His, like going. Cole is super impressive, and looks like Ongaro is starting to like catch himself and get into a good rhythm because it does happen near the end. So what are you looking at here? What are you seeing with Battier and Cole that you recognize?
Who, me or King?
Well, neither of you. You can go ahead, David.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good race here between these guys. I think among these 3, I think Robert and Cole would be a bit more aggressive than David normally is, and you kind of see that David is just staying in the back, not doing anything too crazy. Cole has a lot of skill. Yeah, Robert makes a mistake, and it kind of messes everyone up there.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is really difficult. They're really close to each other, and with all these jumps, it's really tough. So they're doing a really good job, staying away from each other. I think Cole has a lot of skill. Maybe sometimes he tries to do things too fast instead of just waiting, being patient. I think that's kind of what he has to work on a little bit.
Mhm.
He definitely has the speed and everything. He's always fast. So if he can just remove these couple of mistakes he's doing at times, he would be even better than he is.
If you was there, King, what would you be shouting up to Davide or talking to him on the headset? What would you be saying to him?
I would be saying nothing.
Yeah.
He knows what to do. But I will tell you an interesting thing is his dad talks to him 24/7.
Yeah, I
on
know that
thing.
too.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
If I
Either
talk,
him or Barry, right?
yeah, they talk. It's like I don't understand if they're ordering out, maybe pizza or chicken wings. I don't know I don't know what they could be talking about. So that could be something that's in his arsenal is if you have somebody rattling off in your ear while you're doing this and you can
Mhm.
still focus and hit your marks, it's
that's
something unique because
For sure.
I try to tell the dad, I'm like, you gotta calm down a little bit. He knows. I don't need to tell somebody of his caliber what to do because he already knows what to do.
Yeah, and I can tell you a funny thing about that. Like, most of or many times, we were standing next to each other on the driver's stand, and Adrian would be next to these guys down in the pit, and I don't like my mechanics to talk, a lot to me. Of course, I want to have some useful information at times, but especially not when you're racing it out with a few guys on the track. You want to be focusing on driving. At least me.
Right.
I can hear, have my mechanics shout me something in the ear, right? So, but one thing I noticed is like sometimes in qualifiers or practices or whatever it might be, I can hear through. Normally, Adrian has the headset, so I can hear through the mic that Barry is calling out lap times of each top driver basically to Davide and let him know what's like my lap time, the last lap. So I can hear like through the headset, I can hear Ronnie and I can hear my lap time, even if it's Italian. I kind of understand. So
Yeah.
when that happens, I need to tell Adrian to shut the mic off because I cannot listen to that. It's impossible.
Yeah.
So, David, what part of this track did you like the most?
I think I mean, it's difficult to say. It's I think everything is just really. It has a really nice flow. This was a difficult jump, the one after the straight,
Yeah.
because you wanted to send it pretty far if you wanted to go fast, but then you had that chicane thing right after it, so that made it very difficult. I think this section coming up here is pretty good. The triple going into the berm and the finish line. I thought that was really nice because you could kind of either go high up in the berm and kind of ride it a little bit, or you would stuck it to the inside and try to pass someone, that might go wide there. So there's a lot of different line options on this track, and I think it's going to be like that when you have a lot of jumps. That's a nice move by David Ronnefalk.
And
Yeah.
there's where he was talking
Yeah.
about Cole not being respectful. And it's like, dude, this guy, you just missed your line, and then you're going to ass pack him in the next corner, which it wasn't terrible, but it's like, dude, just relax 2 seconds and let the guy gather himself up before you send it in there.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I don't know every situation. I kind of see, if it happens so that I'm watching a race after it, I can kind of see a few things, and I can just see Cole being a little bit too hot, let's say, too
Yeah.
fast instead of just
Well, right.
waiting it out. And that I guess that was happening right there.
Well, that's all I was pointing out is kind of
Yeah.
calling what you said. I like Cole, nothing against Cole, and I
No.
think he's a huge talent, and he's
Yeah.
funny and good and loose, but yeah, you got to have all the pieces of the puzzle to hang with the big boys.
Yeah, and this
Yeah,
was
for
his first race. Was it? This is no. He had been. Was he still in Europe at this time? Yeah, he had still been hanging out with you in
Yeah,
Europe.
we went straight from Spain to this race.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we were running together for like 1.5 months, I believe it was.
Mm-hmm.
So we made like the HP race in France, and we made like basically every single day of the week in 4 weeks at the track in Spain. So it was a good time. We had a good time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
no,
it.
he's talent. In motorcycle terms, he would be like Malcolm Stewart. He can do one fast lap, maybe 2 or 3, have a good race, but putting all the pieces to the puzzle together is, that's where it's what makes the
Yeah.
difference. And the
I do think that
headstrong.
time.
Yeah.
I do think that time in Europe definitely improved his racing in 2019. I told him that a few times, and it showed. It showed, and I really do like that berm, because that's one thing I hate is tracks that don't have usable berms, and you can use it, and you can use it going the inside, or you can go high, and it looks pretty good. And you had a 9-second lead, but now it's down to 7.6. We know we talked about it in the last race. You kind of have this where you get out front and you kind of go into you get too conservative. Is this what we're watching right now?
Yeah, I don't know if this was you said it was the one where I had the crazy flip.
No, this
Was
wasn't it. No, this wasn't
No,
it.
it wasn't a qualifying race, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So yeah, I mean, like I said in the last time, now it's down to 5 seconds. So, I would much rather have like a 2-3 second gap and kind of,
Mhm.
stay,
Maintain.
maintain that. And because then I know I have to focus and push still. If I have that, 8, 9, whatever gap, one crash on a track like this, it's like they're gonna be right there.
Mhm.
So either having a shorter gap where you can kind of have them guys pushing you, or you would have like me at the DNC this year, where I had like a 20-second gap at one point. So then you know that even one mistake is not gonna be terrible.
Well, and also Ungaro was so far behind. I mean, Ungaro had nothing to lose, so he's going to push level 10. And I
No,
can
for
see
sure.
it right now in his driving, and it's hard for David to kind of know what he needs to do. And then he kind of sees him coming, and sometimes it's hard to find that mojo. It's hard. You get into a rhythm that you think is fast, and then and maybe Ungaro's tires are working better. Who knows?
Yeah, it can be just anything. I mean, Davide was really quick. I think we were really similar when we were, driving close to each other together. But yeah, definitely, like you said, he had like nothing to lose coming from the back here. I was kind of trying to maintain my gap there, and I knew he was catching. one thing that was frustrating for me in this series was that he was like using a identical body as Patrick Hoffer.
Mhm.
So usually when I drive, I like to kind of have marks on the track where I kind of see where the other guys are, because I have very good awareness of where the others are. But here, with him having a similar paint scheme as Patrick Hoffer, it was very difficult sometimes to know which one was who. So
Do you know what tires he was using at this race, King, or do you know?
I just know, AKA
it was
David.
double down,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
So I
So-
mean, his car looks more locked in now. Whether he's relaxed more, but I can see he's hitting the same lines, and a car's coming out of the corner straight. So I don't know what I would say to that. I know when I went to this race, I'm pretty hurting, but I ran S2 blockades for Proline, and I would go in, and you would want to actually break them in, have scuff.
Oh, for sure,
So
for sure.
I don't know if he started out on a new tire and then now it's kind of worn in.
Yeah, I don't know that either, but one thing I know for sure is that the AK, it takes a couple of laps to get them in a good, in a good spot. Yeah. So I mean, I knew he was gonna push crazy. You see the gap is down to 2 seconds. So if I remember well, it came pretty close here towards the end. It was a long time ago I watched this race.
And Joseph Quagrain, that's how your Padawan Max Mort once again shows how you let people get by. Was traffic a big issue at this race? Because this track isn't really that wide. It's very fast.
Yeah, I think it wasn't that bad, to be honest. I think it was more difficult at the European races like Austria and Italy. I don't know if that is because of what drivers was in the race as well, but it seemed to be more more drama at those two races compared to Manila and also US. I thought it was pretty good there. So I don't know. I didn't, I don't have any situation that I know someone slowed me down or anything like that.
Yeah, I think this is coming up to 27 laps here. So Ronnefalk, Angaro is not very far behind you. He's right there. And he made that one mistake there. He's made that twice. It's like he gets into marbles right there.
Yeah.
Are you like
the corner too long?
Yeah. Are you
It's
starting to push harder now?
No, I mean, this is a difficult situation here too, because David is coming really fast from far behind. So, you start to think like, am I going too slow? You're trying to, react to why he's, getting so much time on you. And then obviously he's getting a lot of time here. So it means that I didn't hit the marks that I was supposed to do or just slow down too much. But you can also see he's driving really hard. Like normally when I watch his races, this is not the usual Davide.
This is
usually
level 10.
Yeah, like the King said, yeah.
Agree.
He's definitely taking advantage of going high on that berm. And I'm going to put it on volume because like Nick Damon went completely ballistic when you won. And I think it's so funny how he said, like, it's like, oh, but yeah, it's coming close. I mean, if he had a few more laps, I think this race would have been insane. Let's see if we can.
What you would be able to see too, like if he would be able to pass me here, you would see me stepping up too. Because then I know that I have to start push. Here I don't know what was going on.
I think he made
We're
a mistake
finished there?
Yeah, that's finished.
No.
It's that quick.
I thought it was one more lap.
Yeah, me too. But I forgot to put the Nick Damon, and that was Ronnefalk. And I'm going to tell Joseph, they made a mistake. They spelled Ogden wrong there. So I just noticed that. That should. But yeah, that was good, man. I remember just being so relieved after this race at Silver State. Just be like, me and my buddy Mike Hill were watching it. Let's hear you.
Or were you driving within yourself?
I mean, I had kind of a couple of rough laps there with traffic. League tapped me. I mean, it was not really his fault, but I kind of dropped me like 2-3 seconds right there. So, I saw he was closing in. I had a big gap, so I didn't have to do anything crazy out there. So, of course, I stepped down a little bit just to keep it on the wheels. Luckily, I did. He came fast in there towards the end, but, it doesn't matter how you win, right? You just got to finish first to finish first, right?
But does that bother you for the next race? He's got that pace, or do you think you could still find a bit more in the car?
No, I think I lost a little bit of drive because I had a slight issue to clear some of the jumps out there towards the end. So we're going to look at the clutch, maybe the center diff, refresh the oil. But, it wasn't about that. I just stepped down a little bit too much, I think, and that brought him back in.
Davide, that was a tale of two halves. Before the fuel
That's
stop,
her is English.
accidents, crashes, and then after the fuel stop. Wow! How fast were you?
I think now the car was really, really good. I made 2 mistakes at the beginning of the race because I was maybe too nervous. And I fight with Cole and Robert for a few laps, and David was so fast also. But at the end, I think I was a little bit faster than him. But we try in the next one for sure.
So can you have your car for the start of the next race like it was at the end of the first race?
The same setup.
Fantastic. Thanks, very well done.
So, David, I'm not going to lie. You sounded like very out of breath and like very pumped up after that.
Oh, for sure. I was just going to say, if you did not. Yeah, I could feel that I've been under pressure right there for sure.
Yeah, it was, I mean, like I think the whole RC, well, I mean, most of us at Silver State, but everybody was watching this first race, and it was a big deal. But it didn't disappoint, in my opinion. It made for some great racing. You look super pumped. What changes do you remember what changes you made going into the next round?
Into the second leg, you mean?
Yeah.
I don't think I changed anything except for what I said, checking the clutch.
Mhm.
I think if I remember well, I think it was just the clutch was getting soft. I was using a 0.9 spring if I remember well, so I changed out that one, and after that it felt good in the end. I guess I don't know. I think he won by a few seconds in the second one, if I remember well. I had a mistake there, so yeah, obviously he got the overall there, which was a pity. But he's a good driver, and we always had good fights on the track. So it's just fun. I mean, it's a lot of fun.
He's a courteous driver. It's nuts. It was funny at DNC. You came up to lap him, and you didn't really want to pass him, and he stopped, and you stopped, and I'm like, oh, you got to keep going. I mean, it's cool that you guys have the respect for each other. It's
I think like let's say a year and a half ago, it wasn't like that, but I think quite fast after that, it so happened though that we would give each other space on the track. It happened that we were fighting almost each and every race we went to. So you learn how the other driver is kind of driving around you and near you. So you can also trust the other guy not to hit you. And I think we're racing clean, and it's been a lot of good fights here in the last couple of races that we've done, and hopefully we can get back out on the track pretty soon. I'm getting bored over here.
Yeah, the 8 scale class, watching you guys at like DNC we're going to call that basically our worlds this year. I'm thinking.
Yeah, I guess so.
And watching you guys, and then, I'm going to say you and Mayfield are a little bit above everybody else on the rough track conditions. I also put Robert in there. He wasn't there. What we just watched would probably be Robert's weak point.
Yeah, I agree.
As to where he's more of the true 8 scale, gnarly off-road outdoor type.
For sure. Yeah, I think me, Mayfield, Thibaut, Robert would be the good ones on rough.
It's crazy, and I mean, you can't leave Canals out. He's been hitting his stride. So the 8 scale class, there's just so many fast guys. It's nuts. I mean,
it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, man. It's so much competition there. And you speak of Canas, man, he definitely improved a lot in 2019. And
he's getting
he was
older.
super impressive.
Getting more mature compared to before. And then, I know they put in a lot of work. I lived pretty close to them guys when I was in Spain. In 2018, I was there 10 months, and then when me and Cole was there last year as well. And I know that he goes to the tracks a lot and tests. His father is running a hobby shop, so everything they do is RC. So if you put a lot of effort in and you have talent, it's gonna be great success coming out of it.
You get out of it what you put into it.
You've been doing it for how long now, King?
25 plus years, a long time.
Yeah. Hopefully, I think we're gonna see either a 2-time or a consecutive time world champion here very shortly. I think so.
Not gonna happen this year.
No, not gonna happen this year. But I mean,
I
we're
think
talking
so
to a
too.
world champion here. And he's still what? You're 24 now, David. So you got plenty of time.
Yeah,
to
just turned
win 2 in a
24
row.
last week, 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago.
Dang,
So-
I didn't know you were that young.
Yeah. It's been
No,
around
that's
for a long
good.
time.
You know, and there's a lot of other guys coming up. Spencer, I work with him a bunch. If Spencer was in the Philippines, he would be in the mix. His
for sure.
Him and Robert Battier, they need to.
Yeah, they are opposites of each other.
Yes, they need to form. And you know, sometimes it's just it's you got to slow down to go fast. With Spencer working with him, it's like, you know, he just won the nationals last year, and that was the second time at that same type of facility. And when he goes outdoors this year at DNC, he made some improvements. So it's always, even when you're that good with that much skill, that the off-road gnarliness of 8 scale, you've got to use your head. You got to know when to say when. There is no unicorn setup. There is a lot of skill and a lot of patience. I'm sure. So. I think David is one of the smarter guys in setup. I would say him and the Testmans, Mayfield. Mayfield knows what works for him. So that goes a long ways, and that's from just going out and doing the work.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You know, I would say like on the rough tracks is definitely more up to the driver than it is car setup. Obviously, you can't have a car that is spinning out or whatever, but as long as you make it go straight, it's all about picking the good lines and staying patient. You know what we said about Cole before. You know, if he would have a mistake early on, or if he would be unlucky and get caught up with another crash, it can be game over. You know.
Yeah.
But I mean, if if you can just stay calm, you know, keep your head down, and you're gonna be able to come back if you keep it clean after that. You know, there's gonna be
skill set.
Yeah, exactly. So patience is key in the rough, and you know, knowing where to hit, you know, having some marks on the track where you want to hit. That's basically exactly what I did at the DNC. I kind of had my marks on the track, and I didn't leave those marks throughout the whole main. I was just trying to hit those marks, even if it was a little slower in one of the corners. I think overall throughout the whole lap, I was, you know, the most consistent one. So
yeah, for sure. And your car was good. You had set up the car.
Sure, yeah.
You've got a rough track setup that lets you go through. I mean, I look back to Australia, the Worlds, and I could see you were doing things different with your car than you're doing now. You've kind of went back to just your normal stuff, and you're kind of back for your comfort zone. Sometimes, you know, that's the crazy thing with the RC car racer. Sometimes we're looking at other people's stuff too much and not focusing on all of our stuff. And I'm to blame for that more than anybody, but you know, you kind of get lost. You got to have your normal setup. It was funny with Cavallari running for Associated, him and Dino Dan, there was always like Cav would kind of go off a little bit, and then he would just hit the reset button, put that setup back on. And he was, you know, I'm not going to say he was the fastest, but he was in contention to win.
For sure.
You know, 7 out of 10 times.
Yep, I agree.
Sweet. Well, I think this was a lot of fun. You made it very interesting, King, and David, of course, with you. It was always fun. We need to do this again. We need to get Davide on her. Have the
I don't have to do any more races because I'm not winning anymore.
No, but I think
Davide has some episodes he can make now.
I'll give another funny note. I was helping pit Davide at the final RCGP.
Yeah.
And Pierre and I were, you know, David's dad is, you know, all the families are pretty cool and all that. But his dad is just one of the nicest guys and laid back, and we're talking, and I'm like, all right, we're putting up the white flag. We surrender, because David was getting ready to lap Davide. And as I promise, 15 seconds later, your car goes straight. And I just went, are you kidding me? I mean, that's how cruel the stupid hobby can be.
Yeah. That was probably, you know, even if it was a setback, of course, it was still one of my
Yeah.
highlights of last year. I think,
Yeah.
if it would happen, with 8 laps into the main, it would be a completely different story. But now it was 8 laps to go, but I just lapped the whole field, and I think it was one of my best races since the Worlds.
Yeah,
for sure.
No, you're on
Best
point.
drive. Yeah.
You're on point, and yeah, no,
And then
it's
shit
awesome.
happens.
It does. Yeah, I mean, I was in Spain when you and Robert had the issue with your electronics, and it's like, did that just really happen both at the
Yeah.
same time?
Yeah.
Crazy
stuff.
This is RC, so
Yep.
good stuff. Well, I appreciate your time, King. I appreciate your time, David, and I hope the fans like this. Maybe we should ask the fans to choose the next race. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Sounds good. You guys be safe, and great for getting everybody together.
Yep. Thank you guys.
See you.